Imagine opening your eyes tomorrow morning, walking into your kitchen, turning on the faucet, and nothing happens. No clean drinking water, no shower, no toilet, no sink. Every single drop of water your family needs must be carried by hand from the nearest river, well, or spring. For most of human history, this wasn't a nightmare. It was simply everyday life. For thousands of years, people built incredible homes without running water. From tiny mud huts to magnificent stone castles and even luxurious Roman villas, one thing remained the same. If you wanted water, you had to go and get it yourself. This daily struggle shaped where people lived, how they designed their homes, and even how families spent their time. Entire civilizations rose and fell depending on their access to clean water. Today we're going to travel back thousands of years and discover what life inside these homes was really like. We'll explore how ancient people cooked, cleaned, bathed, survived disease, and managed daily life before a single faucet ever existed. By the end of this journey, you may never look at your kitchen sink the same way again. The very first permanent homes appeared over 10,000 years ago when humans stopped constantly wandering and began farming. But choosing where to build a home wasn't about beautiful scenery, it was all about water. Villages almost always appeared beside rivers, lakes, natural springs, or reliable streams. Without nearby water, survival was almost impossible. Every morning often began the same way. Someone, usually women, older children, or servants, would leave the house carrying heavy clay pots, woven baskets lined with waterproof materials, or animal skins. Sometimes the water source was only a few hundred feet away, sometimes it was several miles. Imagine making this exhausting trip every single day, no matter the weather. In hot summers, freezing winters, heavy rain, or dangerous storms, water still had to be collected. A family of 5 might need dozens of gallons every day just for drinking, cooking, washing dishes, feeding animals, and basic cleaning. That meant multiple trips. The water itself wasn't always clean. Rivers carried mud. Animals drank from the same places. People often washed clothes upstream while others collected drinking water nearby. Contamination was common, although most people didn't yet understand invisible germs. Instead, many believed illness came from bad air, curses, or angry spirits. Water wasn't simply something people used. It was one of the most valuable resources a family possessed. Every single drop mattered. Inside these ancient homes, daily routines looked very different from ours. There were no bathrooms. No showers, no flushing toilets, no kitchen sinks. Cooking usually happened over open fires located in the center of the home or inside simple stone fireplaces. Water stored inside large clay jars was carefully rationed. Families couldn't waste it. Hands were washed using small bowls. Dishes were cleaned with sand, ash, or rough cloths before being rinsed with precious water. Bathing wasn't an everyday activity for most people. Many families bathed only occasionally, especially during cold seasons when heating water required large amounts of firewood. Some simply wiped themselves with damp cloths. Laundry was another enormous task. Dirty clothes were carried to rivers, ponds, or communal washing areas. People scrubbed fabrics against rocks using ash, sand, or homemade soap created from animal fat and wood ash. Then the heavy wet clothing had to be carried home. Even using the toilet required planning. Civil pits were dug outside the home. Some villages built shared latrines. Others relied on nearby fields. Human waste wasn't always separated from living areas, which helped diseases spread rapidly. Despite these challenges, people adapted remarkably well. Every family developed routines that balanced hard work, careful water use, and survival. As civilizations became larger, people invented increasingly impressive ways to move water. Ancient Egyptians dug canals connected to the Nile. Persians created underground tunnels called qanats that transported cool groundwater across long distances. The Greeks built public fountains supplied by gravity. Then came one of history's greatest engineering achievements, the Romans. Roman engineers constructed enormous aqueducts stretching for dozens of miles. These massive stone bridges carried fresh water into crowded cities using nothing more than carefully calculated slopes. For wealthy Romans, this transformed home life. Some luxurious houses featured indoor fountains, baths, and even primitive plumbing systems. Lead and clay pipes delivered water directly into certain buildings. Public bathhouses became gathering places where people washed, relaxed, exercised, and socialized. However, this luxury was available mainly in large cities and to wealthier citizens. Most ordinary families throughout the ancient world still collected water by hand every day. Elsewhere, medieval castles stored rainwater in giant underground cisterns. Monasteries built sophisticated drainage systems. Islamic cities developed beautiful courtyards with flowing fountains and advanced water management techniques. Across the world, people continued finding smarter ways to bring water closer to home. Each invention saved countless hours of exhausting labor. Even by the 1700s and early 1800s, millions of people still lived much like their ancient ancestors. Water came from wells. Baths were rare. Outdoor toilets remained common. Cities struggled with filthy streets and frequent outbreaks of deadly diseases like cholera and typhoid. The real revolution arrived during the 19th century. Engineers developed modern pumping stations. Cast iron pipes spread beneath growing cities. Water treatment systems began removing dangerous contaminants. Homes slowly gained indoor plumbing. For the first time in history, clean water could flow directly into kitchens, bathrooms, and laundry rooms. This single invention dramatically reduced disease, improved hygiene, saved countless hours of labor, and transformed everyday life forever. Today, turning on a faucet takes only seconds. Most of us never stop to think about the incredible engineering hidden beneath our streets. Yet for over 99% of human history, every drink of water required effort, planning, and hard physical work. The next time you wash your hands, fill a glass, or enjoy a hot shower, remember the generations who carried every drop by hand. Their determination built the foundations of civilization, and their endless search for water shaped the homes we live in today. Sometimes the greatest luxury isn't a palace or a castle, it's simply turning a handle and watching clean water flow. As the sun disappeared below the horizon, life inside these homes changed completely. There were no electric lights, no glowing lamps on the walls, no televisions, no phones. When darkness arrived, it truly became dark. Families lit small oil lamps, beeswax candles, or simple torches. But these were expensive. Most ordinary people couldn't afford to keep them burning for long. Every candle had value, and every drop of lamp oil was precious. Because of this, people usually went to bed not long after sunset. Most homes had only 1 or 2 rooms. Parents, children, and sometimes even grandparents slept together in the same space. In farming communities, chickens, goats, or sheep might spend the night inside the house during winter to keep warm and protect them from thieves or predators. Beds were nothing like the soft mattresses we know today. Poor families often slept on straw stuffed into cloth sacks placed directly on the floor. Others rested on wooden platforms covered with blankets made from wool or animal hides. Nights were rarely peaceful. Dogs barked outside, roosters crowed before dawn, babies cried, animals shuffled across the floor. Wind whistled through cracks in wooden walls, while rain leaked through damaged roofs. Without glass windows in many homes, insects, mice, and even snakes could sometimes find their way inside. Yet after spending an entire day carrying water, farming fields, cooking meals, and caring for livestock, most people were simply too exhausted to worry. Sleep came quickly. Tomorrow would begin with the same hard work all over again. Keeping a home clean without running water was one of the greatest challenges people faced. Every bucket of water had already required a long journey to collect, so using it for cleaning was a difficult decision. Floors were swept with handmade brooms crafted from branches or straw. Dust settled everywhere. Smoke from indoor fires covered ceilings and walls with thick black soot. Cooking fires burned almost every day, filling homes with smoke. Because many early houses had poor ventilation, eyes often watered. People coughed constantly. The smell of smoke clung to clothing, furniture, and hair. Garbage disposal was another problem. Food scraps were often thrown outside, attracting rats, insects, and stray animals. Without proper sewage systems, human waste frequently contaminated nearby water supplies. This created deadly outbreaks of diseases that spread rapidly through villages and cities. Children were especially vulnerable. Many illnesses that are easily prevented today once claimed thousands of lives. Still, people found clever ways to improve hygiene. Ash was used to scrub cooking pots. Vinegar cleaned wooden surfaces. Certain herbs helped repel insects. Sunlight was used to dry bedding because people noticed it helped reduce unpleasant smells. Even without understanding bacteria or viruses, they slowly learned through experience which habits made families healthier. Not everyone experienced life before running water in the same way. Poor farmers often lived in tiny homes made from mud, wood, or woven branches coated with clay. A single room served as the kitchen, bedroom, dining room, and living room. Water had to be collected every day by hand. But wealthy families enjoyed far greater comfort. In ancient Egypt, noble families employed servants whose job was simply to fetch water. In Roman cities, some rich homes received water through private pipes connected to aqueducts. Medieval castles stored enormous amounts of rainwater inside underground cisterns, ensuring water remained available during long sieges. Kings and queens still didn't have modern bathrooms, but they certainly had more convenience than ordinary villagers. Servants heated bathwater, cleaned chambers, carried waste away, and maintained household supplies. Even so, luxury had limits. Without modern plumbing, even the richest palace depended on people working behind the scenes every single day. Water remained one of the most valuable resources, no matter how wealthy someone became. Money could reduce the work, it could not eliminate the need for water itself. Human creativity never stopped searching for easier ways to access water. People dug deeper wells using stone linings that prevented them from collapsing. Villages built hand-operated pumps. Windmills lifted water from underground. Water wheels powered machines that carried water uphill. Rainwater harvesting became common in many dry regions. Homes were designed with sloping roofs that directed rain into underground storage tanks. In deserts, engineers created underground channels that protected water from evaporation. As cities expanded, engineers developed increasingly advanced systems of pipes, reservoirs, and public fountains. These innovations transformed daily life. Families spent less time carrying water. Farmers could irrigate larger fields. Craftsmen could produce more goods. Cities grew larger because they could support bigger populations. Access to water didn't just improve comfort. It encouraged trade, education, science, architecture, and economic growth. Many historians believe that controlling water was one of the greatest reasons civilizations became powerful. The story of water is also the story of human progress. Today, running water feels completely ordinary. You wake up, brush your teeth, take a shower, wash your hands, cook breakfast, clean your dishes, flush the toilet, all before leaving the house. Each of these simple actions would have amazed people who lived only a few centuries ago. Behind every faucet is an invisible network of reservoirs, treatment plants, underground pipes, pumps, and engineers working around the clock. It is one of the greatest engineering achievements in human history. Because of clean running water, life expectancy increased dramatically. Diseases that once devastated entire cities became far less common. Families gained hours of free time every single day. Children could attend school instead of spending mornings collecting water. Communities became healthier, stronger, and more prosperous. The history of homes before running water reminds us that the smallest conveniences often have the greatest impact. For thousands of years, survival depended on every bucket carried, every well dug, and every drop carefully saved. The next time you hear water flowing from your faucet, remember that it represents thousands of years of human innovation, determination, and hard work. It is easy to overlook, but for countless generations, it would have seemed nothing short of magic. And perhaps that's the greatest lesson of all. The comforts we take for granted today were once among humanity's greatest dreams.